Alrighty, so for this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about how to graph decimals on the number line. And so something that's cool about our number line and our number system, you kind of saw this in the video, is that it always counts to the number 10. It always goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then as soon as we get to 9, we change the number that's in front. Okay, so think about just counting to like 50, right? You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you go 10. Now you count to 9 again, but now there's a 1 in front. 11, 12, 13, 14, etc. to 19, and then you get to 10, 20, right? Then you get to 20. Now we count to 9 again, but now there's a 2 in front, right? And then go 21, 22, 23, etc. all the way until we get to 29. So we count to 9 again, and then we change the number that's in front. Now it's a 3, and we start at 0, and we count to 1 again, to 9 again. 1, 2, 3, etc. all the way till we get to 9 again, and then we change the number in front. So now we get to 40, 41, 42, etc. Okay? Decimals are no different. They follow this same pattern. We count to 9, and then we switch the number in front. Okay? So what's very important to remember is that the halfway point on between two numbers will always be 0.5. Okay? Because what's half of 100? 50. What's half of 10? 5. What's halfway between 20 and 30? 25. Okay, that halfway always has a 5 in it. Okay, so halfway is always going to be 0.5. Okay, now when we're counting with decimals, we start with a 0, then we count all the way up to 9. Okay, so before 0.5, you're going to have 0.1, then 0.2, then 0.3, then 0.4. Then you have 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. Okay? So again, we count all the way up to 9, and then we change the number that's in front. Now we're at 1. So now we're going to go to, okay, so we just did all of these. Let's do it again so we can see it down here. Okay, now we're going to change that number in front. Now that we're at 1, so now we're going 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Middle is always going to be that halfway, so we're going to be 1.5. Now we're going to go 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9. Count it to 9. Now change the number in front. Okay, now we're going to go to 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. You see the pattern yet? We're always counting by to 9. Okay, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, and now we get to 3. So now change the number in front. Count to 9 again. 3.1, 3.2. If you're asking where 3.0 is, the answer is right there. 3 is the same thing as 3.0. Okay. Now we have 3.3, 3.4, middle being 3.5, etc. Okay. That is how you make decimals, and you know where each one is. So if you're trying to graph, say, 1.2 or 1 2/10, you know that because it has a 1 in front, it's going to be in between 1 and 2. Okay? Because those numbers have 1s in front. Okay? And we're going to go to 2. Halfway is always that 5/10 mark. Okay? So that means that we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and right here would be 1 2/10. Okay? So you'd put your dot right there when graphing it on the number line. Okay? Now what if we had, say, 2 4/10? Well, I know halfway is going to be that 0.5, that 5/10. Okay? And because there's a 2 in front, I know that means it's going to be between 2 and 3 because those numbers have a 2 in front. Halfway is going to be that 0.5 mark, and I know 4 is smaller than 5, so 0.4 is going to be right next to it. Okay? And that's where we'd put our dot. Now what happens if we're trying to graph decimals that have multiple decimal points? So say I'm trying to graph 0.13, okay? Notice that all of these just have one decimal point, okay? Well, if you're trying to graph something with multiple decimal points, give your number line multiple decimal points, okay? So if your thing you're trying to graph has 2 decimals, you're going to go in and make all of your other ones have 2 decimals. Because right now it looks that 0.13 is going to be bigger than 0.9, but that's not true, okay? And that's not true because if we go through and give all of these an extra thing, and the thing you can always add at the end is a 0, okay? We're going to go ahead and we're going to add zeros to all of these at the very end. So now they all have 2 decimal points, just like the thing that I'm trying to graph, okay? So now it's real easy to see where 13 falls on here. This is 10, this is 20, this is 30. Where does 13 fall? It falls right here, in between 10 and 20. Where specifically? Well, this one, again, halfway would be that 0.5, right? So we've got 0.15, and this would be 14, 13, 12, and then 11, okay? So 13 would be right there, okay? So it's going to be a little bit closer to 10 than it would 20, because halfway between 10 and 20 would be 15, so it's going to be a little bit smaller than that halfway mark. Okay? Now what if you're trying to graph something with 3 decimals? Say 0 and 259. Okay, 259 thousandths. Well, make all of your things have 3 decimals. Again, we can always add a 0. So I'm going to go through, add another 0 to all of these. 0, 0, 0. 0, 0. Now we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900. So where's 259 going to fall? It's going to fall right here. It's going to fall in between 200 and 300. Halfway would be about 250. So this is going to be a little bit more than halfway, because this would be about that. So 259 would be right about there. Okay? When you're graphing decimals on a number line, I need you to try and make sure you are as accurate as possible. And this rule applies no matter where you're at on the number line. Okay? So if it was 2 and 159, 2 is in front, so that means it's going to be in between 2 and 3. But then I have 3 decimal points, so I'm going to give everything 3 decimals. Okay? Do, 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 do. I can always add those zeros. Now these all have 3 decimals. And I need to graph 159. 159 is going to fall in between 100 and 200. So it's going to be about right there. Okay? And that is how you graph decimals on the number line.